Hello, everybody. This is Matthew Brand. Welcome to the Mad and Creek podcast. And right now, I just saw a news story that went on Channel 7 in Detroit earlier today about how there is this large wave of arrests, felony arrests, for people who are non-violently, illegally carrying guns. And there seems to be some confusion, especially in this post. What they're saying is, on one hand, a lot of public defenders are saying that the cases should really be dismissed, mostly as these people who are getting arrested for this are carrying with misconception. And I actually agree with this. Most people in Detroit, or I don't want to say Detroit, but in the Michigan, sometimes confuse the laws when they haven't been informed, instructed, that they haven't taken the gun safety class and gotten their CPL. Like if they haven't gone through that process, sometimes they are confused about the laws in Michigan. I've encountered this many, many times, especially when doing marketing, going out, helping people out with classes and such. A lot of people think that you can, and they say this in this post, you can open carry in Michigan. What they believe as an open carry is as long as the gun is visible, then you are open carrying. However, it doesn't have to be part of the gun. Basically, the entire holster, whatnot, has to be visible. If part of it's tucked under your shirt or whatever, it completely changes it. Another thing that is not the same in every state is you can be arrested in others, in a lot of states, uh, or I'm sorry, not arrested in a lot of states, but it is legal in a lot of states to carry in your car as long as it's visible. It's still considered open carry. In Michigan, it is not. If you have, even if you're on a four wheeler and it's completely visible, for whatever reason, carrying on a vehicle, any form of vehicle, is considered concealed carry as soon as you hop on. Once again, you could be on a motorcycle, but for some weird reason, well, maybe not a motorcycle. I think a four wheeler or whatever. The law is written very weird. So a lot of people get arrested for laws they don't understand. Now, the chief, former acting chief, and now I believe he's the full chief, James White, is saying, well, just because you're a legal gun owner doesn't mean that what you're doing is you can still be committing crime. And in that specific part, he is correct. It is correct. You can be legally on your gun. That does not mean that you don't intend to commit a crime. However, just because you have a gun on you does not mean you intend to commit a crime. And then they allude to a woman who accidentally shot a. Uh, they said she accidentally, we don't know, allegedly accidentally shot her child while cleaning her gun. That was the story, and they allude to that. That has nothing to do with carrying it. She, even though she was in her house, that has nothing to do with carrying. You can legally have a gun in your house. You do not need a license. So that little story that they added on the end to this was completely irrelevant to what they were talking about. What they're talking about is people purchase guns, then they go out and carry the guns and do not realize that what they're doing is illegal. What Because the confusion is you can purchase a gun and own it and keep it in your house, but the moment you take it outside, or the moment you leave your property and it's outside and you're carrying, that's considered concealed carrying. And if you do not have what's in Michigan, a CPL, concealed pistol license, you are charged with the CCW, carrying a concealed weapon. There's one more part that they're leaving out, though. One more very important part. See, they're particularly looking for people in Wayne County. And in Wayne County, there was a backup on licenses. They basically, even for a while, just said, we're not doing it. You have to make an appointment. You have to wait till next year, and next year, and next year. And if people are in that area, well, let's face it, Detroit is dangerous. Some people feel like they have to do what they have to do. And they're not necessarily planning on doing anything illegal. Sometimes they're just carrying because they're in fear and they cannot get their license legally. I am not even opposed to the CPL program they have in Michigan, I'm okay with people going and getting their license. I think some of the methods of it are excessive, like it adds up money wise, and for people who are impoverished, which are a lot of people in Detroit, they it makes it unaffordable for them, right? That's why I offer my classes for pretty much next to nothing if you're in in the Metro Detroit area. However, one thing I also want to add is by making people wait excessive amount of times, if someone feels like they need it now for whatever reason, which I just talked about in my last post, right, in my last podcast, which was much longer, about how people, you could be a relative of somebody who people want revenge against. You could be just living in a bad area. You could have just gotten unfortunately bad neighbors. Anything can be going on. Or you could just recognize that the area you're living in is not as safe as it used to be. These are many reasons people would do such a thing. That does not mean that there are bad people. But unfortunately, when you have a convoluted law like this, it turns regular people into criminals. So, yes, I actually do believe that these people should get off for such a case. Like it should be honestly a misdemeanor. If anything, because these are felony arrests. These aren't just regular arrests. These are felony arrests. But another thing I do want to add is I do see what the police are kind of doing. I think what they're really doing is they're looking to find a charge on certain people. We forget that the police do this sometimes. I'm not saying it's morally okay, or I'm not saying that like that's how the law should go, but this is something that police do. Police, when they cannot charge you on one of the things they're actually accusing you of doing, or one of the things you have allegedly done, they will look for what they can charge you on. Unfortunately, when you do such things, innocent people get caught in the crossfire. So say you have a guy who may be selling bad drugs on the street, or he's a murderer, or whatever the case may be. They can't find, let's say they don't have enough evidence for that, but the gun or some petty, like, back in the day, weed's legal now, but the gun or some weed might have been just a charge they need to get them off the streets for a while. Now, these people are getting on and on and on back on the streets. But the police in the city, they don't really show discretion when it comes to guns. Wayne County has a vendetta against people who have guns in general. They really don't treat you the same. Like, if you're in Wayne County, you're in Oakland County, I just got done talking to somebody about this a couple of days ago. You get treated very differently. If you're in Detroit and you get pulled over with a gun, they disassemble your gun. Other counties, right? And even I'm just being honest. I'm being a black person, going knock on wood, right? Being a black person, so far my experience in other counties has been, yeah, whatever, I don't care. When it comes up to the conversation of, do you have a gun on you when you get pulled over by the police, you inform them right away. I think the law says immediately. It doesn't give a really good time frame. But the thing is, can a police officer in another county be like that? Yeah. But when it comes to Detroit, to me, it's not even the fact that it seems like the police have themselves have it. It seems like that's almost like their pushed policy, or their secret policy, or just really heavily weighed on by the maybe it's the prosecutor, or the coming down the pipeline. They really don't like citizens having guns. And even when I talk to people who are former police officers in Detroit and they work in other counties now, they really don't like citizens having guns. I'm not saying all police are like that. I'm just saying I really do very often get that vibe. There's a separation of class there when it comes to that, and it's not limited to training, right? Because you'll be in the same training with them and be like, well, what do you need a gun for, right? They really don't feel comfortable with an armed populace. And the thing about that is, I have nothing against the police, but that is actually the exact point of the Second Amendment. The government should feel that the population has a checks and balances. Not saying that they're going to do anything, that they shouldn't do anything to anybody, but there should be a checks and balances of power. Otherwise, you get situations like you have in the past where the government has abused their power. And just like with the riots, you may get a situation where the people abuse their power. It can be either way. That's why there needs to be balance. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. I hope you appreciate this. This was once again coming from WXYZ TV in Detroit. I think you can look up the video on YouTube. That last little part didn't make sense because once again, you don't need a license to have a gun in your house. So anything somebody did in their house is irrelevant to the discussion of the fact that a lot of people are being arrested right now, not just because they're misunderstanding the law, but because they were also basically made. They made huge hurdles to jump through to get their license the way they were supposed to. It's not. We are a shall issue state. We're not may issue. They have to give you your license, but what they're doing is they're making it as difficult as possible, either due to negligence or intention. One way or the other, they're doing that. Anyway, peace out.